Welcome to Campaholics.
I'm Christy.
I'm Mandy.
And I'd rather be camping.
Weather update. That's right, guys. We're going to talk about all things weather today.
That's right. All weather, all day.
All weather. Speaking of, we're in lovely Apache Junction, Arizona, and it is hot.
Super hot.
Yeah.
Some might say hellish.
That's appropriate.
You know, my niece is in town from Texas, and I don't think she goes outside much because she's really pale. And also, she came in yesterday dressed in a long sleeve like sweater and long pants. And I'm like, they're like, we're going to go ride scooters. I'm like,
you're going to die.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, y'all. And so no one listens to me because why listen to mom?
Right.
And they come back in like 10 minutes later and they're both like beet red and like sweating. And I'm like, yeah.
Exactly.
So I had to like get her some clothes to wear and stuff. I'm just
my goodness. Yeah. So as we talk about weather, especially for like camping, the biggest thing is know before you go. Brian makes fun of me for this because I do it every day. I check the weather and I'm like, oh, is it going to rain? Because I'm so excited to see a cloud in the sky. But it is important when you're going on those trips because you do not want to be underprepared for the weather.
No, especially camping, right? You're outside and you're driving probably in unfamiliar places, usually like a one-lane crazy road on the side of a mountain, right? So it's just like you do need to know, and like you need, it isn't just about what you're packing to, it's like windshield wipers need to be
exactly. You need to be prepared. I mean, even as you're driving, like if it starts raining really hard, you're going to want to make sure, depending on what kind of vehicle you're in, that like for us, a truck, when we tent camped, we made sure we had that tarp on because you didn't know when it was going to start pouring rain.
I don't know how people camp in a tent without the rain fly.
Yeah.
I've always put it on.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't going to rain. Like, there's just something about that open screen at the top that makes me feel
vulnerable.
Yes. Yes.
I know. It's funny because, like, when Brian and I got married, we went to Yellowstone for our honeymoon. And we did camping and cabin, and we kind of, like, mix-matched throughout, like, a whole week's time. But anyway, one of the time we were camping in a tent, it was so windy and stormy. And I know we're in this flimsy little tent, but I'm like, Brian, we're going to blow away. And he's like, I said, the tent's going to blow away. And he's like, Mandy, if the tent blows away, we're blowing away. Right. We're in the tent. I don't know. It's just something about that thin little barrier that you feel protected. But at that moment, I obviously didn't feel protected.
Well, I feel the same. Or like, you'll be sleeping right in the tent and it's dark at night and you hear a weird noise in the bushes and you're like, oh, it's just like a raccoon, right? Hopefully. And like, then you start thinking like, what if it's like a cougar or a bear? And then you're like, this little sheet of material between the bear and I
know. That's not going to do anything. I mean, yeah.
I don't think the bear's going to respect that. Like, he's not going to care, right?
And even like, we camp up north in Arizona and we have like the big elk, the Yellowstone elk that are here. I mean, do they really care where they step? You can hear them walking through the forest. You can hear the elk calls. And like, I'm like, please know your surroundings, Mr. Elk, because I do not want to get stepped on.
No, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, there's so many things you need to prepare for. I mean, let's just go into different types of weather. So like the rain.
Yeah.
Kind of back to, we had talked about our bare essentials in one of our meetings. It is essential to have the proper clothing for when it rains. And I'm talking a rain jacket and boots. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like the fancy, expensive rain boots. Like I learned growing up, where we had irrigation. And so we had irrigation boots and they are super cheap. So if you just Google irrigation boots, you can get a decent pair of rain waterproof boots for your whole family.
For your whole family.
I know. Just get the big sizes so that way the next person growing into them can just keep going through them so you don't have to spend more money.
I'm going to have to look into that because that's the one thing I don't really have is like rain boots.
Yeah.
Right. I have my raincoat, which I love. which doubles as like a windbreaker, which is a
Yeah.
lifesaver.
Yeah. Yeah, the irrigation boots, they're so nice because they're really tall. If you get the bigger size, you can just slip them in with your heavy, thick socks. And especially for the kids, like they want to go play in the mud and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
strap them in and let them go. Extra socks, definitely. And when it's raining, so not only are we talking about like what you need to be prepared clothes wise, but let's talk about what do you do when it's raining the whole time.
Yeah, it can get boring if the storm
Yeah.
lasts like longer than 20 minutes. You need to
Right.
find something to do.
So I suggest games. Like we love playing games, even if it's not raining, but that's a great thing to do underneath the canopy or tarp together with people. So you're still outside and you're still like having that community, but
Yeah.
you're having fun. So
Plus, then it gives us an excuse to have like hot chocolate and coffee.
exactly. And I don't know about you guys, but like it is hard for me to sit still. And so when we're camping and it's raining, I feel like my cousin's a little bit like this, but one time we kind of got into this little, let's dig trenches so the water goes this way and doesn't fall into our tent. For hours, we were like out there, like digging like little trench holes for the rain to go through. And of course, then the rain stops and you did all that work for maybe just a few hours. But
Sure.
it was fun
Yeah.
for me. I don't know. Like,
It's amazing.
it gave me something to do. So, yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. So we talked about the rain a little bit. So what about heat? When you are camping and it's a little warmer than you expected, definitely make sure you have the ice for your food, your cooler. Make sure you've know before you go again. Make sure you see where the gas stations or a little camp store is so you can refill that ice so you don't run out.
Yeah, that's why I talked about this in a previous episode, that cooler that I had, that igloo thing. I'm so excited to try this new one.
Yeah. The one with the basket?
Yeah.
Awesome.
The
I
one
can't wait
with
to
the
see
basket.
it. Yeah. I love it.
I know. I got a bunch of Sasquatch stickers on there now.
That's so cool.
My mom saw it yesterday. She's like, "Oh, are these from all your trips?" I was like, "No, this is a brand new cooler. I just have a lot of stickers."
That's so cool. I love it. So yeah, and then also if it's warm, like camp by water. I mean,
Yeah.
going to the lake, going down to the river, it's just a great way to cool off, give you something to do to pass those warm hours of the day. Most of the time, at least for us, when we camp, it does get warm during the day in the summer, but then at night it cools down quite a bit. So it's really only a few hours that we have to deal with the heat.
Yeah, I get sunburned every time.
I believe it.
I'm gonna wear sunblock.
Yep. So yeah, when it is cold, which is the time I really love to go camping, another know before you go is check those campfire restrictions.
Yeah.
So for us, there's different forests in Arizona, so every forest is going to have their own rules and restrictions. So that's a big one for us because Arizona, there's a lot of fires that start in the summer and whatnot, but that's why we camp, to get out of the valley, cool down.
Yeah.
So it's fun having a campfire. Obviously, if you can't, playing games at night is great too. But just know before you go, so you're not bringing a whole bunch of campfire wood, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, we can't have a campfire because there's a
I
restriction.
know, that sucks.
Yeah,
That's tough when you can't make s'mores.
but I will have to say two great items that I have found are a necessity when camping in the cold are the comfy
Oh my gosh, yes.
and the silk suit.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know what they are, just look them up. The comfy was actually created by these brothers that live in Chandler, Arizona, where they were sick of shivering and being cold while their kids were having baseball games and stuff. So they created this big, warm, furry, oversized coat that essentially wraps your whole body in this warm, fuzzy thing.
Yeah.
And keeps you so warm. I'm telling you, one time we camped in the snow and I had this thing on and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm not cold. Where are you guys going?
You're,
Going
sweating.
to bed? Yeah. Seriously, you do start sweating.
I know. You got me hooked on that comfy pretty quick. It was the first camping trip, and I was like, that's it. I need one.
Yeah.
And then I got one for Reese. Now, Reese has two, and I only have one. And I'm like, how does this?
Yeah. I don't get it.
But they
Unfair.
are. You got to have those.
Yeah. They make great gifts. So
Yes.
definitely.
They
Yeah.
have a bunch of fun colors and designs.
I
too.
know. And then it worked not just for camping, but at my daughter's soccer games. I'm like, I'm
Or when
bringing
we go to the
comfy.
cabin.
The cabin, anytime. It's anywhere you're going to be cold. Just get the comfy.
Just get the comfy.
And then, so I also have this great thing called the silk suit. So imagine yourself in a sleeping bag, but it's like shaped to your body. I know. And it is so awesome. I know I look like a giant marshmallow. I don't care what I look like, but as long as I am warm, I am happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I think that should be a good rule of thumb for anyone camping. Like, it's not about the way you look.
No.
It's all about comfort. So don't bring your makeup or your hair. Like, don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
that's right.
No,
I
just
agree.
roll with it.
Roll with it. So another big weather condition you could counter is wind. I don't know about you guys, but wind is one of my least favorite.
Oh, I hate wind.
You just like your face gets chapped. Everything seems like colder and miserable. But like we have canopies, so make sure you stake your canopy and your tent down because you don't want that stuff blowing away.
No, whether you're in it or not.
The wind answers to no one.
Back on the cold weather, I know you camp in a trailer, so you guys have a nice little like temperature regulated atmosphere,
We
right?
do.
Whereas I do not.
I know.
So it's a little bit harder for me to camp in the winter months with you guys. It's hard to keep up with you. But I do have that propane heater buddy.
Mr. Buddy.
Mr. Heater Buddy. The thing is amazing. It really is. And it's so funny, and like maybe I use it incorrectly. You tell me. But like it has a safety feature in there that if it were to be jostled around or kicked or tip on its side or its front, it shuts off, right?
Yeah.
So, and I've tested this. It does. It's super safe.
Okay.
And they're like, don't use it like in an enclosed space.
Right. Make it have ventilation.
Yeah, which I feel like a tent has ventilation.
Yeah.
Especially mine because it's got that big screen
Yeah.
on the top and then the fly is about an inch off of it, right?
Okay.
So there's airflow.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a big tent. It's a big tent. So I'll sleep with that in the tent and I'll leave it on at night and everyone's like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, nowhere in the manufacturer's paperwork does it say I can't do this. This is what it was designed to do.
Right.
There's even a section in my tent, in the corner of the tent, that has a hole in it or a little
Yeah.
fold,
Mm-hmm.
so you can feed a line through it
Okay.
and put the tank. You can have like an adapter to this little heater and put it on like those big propane tanks outside of the tent
oh, yeah.
at like a safe distance and then run the line in through to your tent.
I didn't even know that about it.
Intentionally for all of these things. And everyone's telling me like,
Don't sleep with it on.
yeah, or they think like the propane fumes are going to
Right.
do something. I'm like, for one, I'm using these tiny little green canisters. That's not enough
Yeah.
to make
Right.
anyone sick.
Right.
And two, I ain't dead yet. I've been trying.
You're still here.
I've been camping with this thing for years.
Yeah. And I mean, it's going to bring you so much comfort at night when it's
Yes.
so cold.
And that's the thing is you think, oh, this tiny little heater isn't going to make that big of a difference. But I shit you not. When you turn on that little thing, even if you just run it on low,
It's
like,
sucker get you warm.
yes, you'll be sweating in there. And I'm like, so now it's funny because Reese has never really camped without it. Whereas like when I was growing up, we didn't, and I camped in Washington. It was really cold all the time.
Yeah.
We never had this. Okay.
Yeah.
No one ever brought a heater. And so he's like really spoiled with it. So we'll wake up in the morning and he's like, I'm cold. Will you turn on the heater? And I'm like, you gotta stop. Get out of it.
Right. You're like, oops, it ran out of propane.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I know, like those moments when you're in your sleeping bag and you're like, I don't want to move or go
Oh
to
my
the
gosh,
bathroom because
yeah.
I'm so snuggy and warm and oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah. It's so tough every time.
I know. I mean, so we talk about like when I was little, there was a time, okay, my mom had 6 kids. And so I'm sure by the time the 3rd, 4th kid wanted to get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, she was sick of it. And she was. And I really needed to go. And I was probably like 5. So she just basically yelled at me and was like, go yourself. Like, I'm not coming with you.
Yeah.
She was probably warm and all nice and toasty in her sleeping bag. Which now being mom, I'm like, kudos to her for,
Yes.
sticking up for
Stand
herself.
your ground.
But later to find out, a bear had gone through the campground that night, and little old Mandy was exposed to this big old bear. But hey, I survived.
You made it.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, how are you supposed to know that? And it, like, to your point, your mom had probably already been up and down like 6 times, but I'm sure the next day she was like, I'm such a terrible
I
mom.
know.
I'm like, no.
I know.
No.
Yeah. What's the saying? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for bears.
Except for
They
bears.
will kill
They
you.
will kill you.
Well, wait, unless you go back to the black bear thing and you start attacking, defending yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just, I gotta get that right. Maybe get a tattoo of it so you don't
Yeah.
forget it.
Exactly. So yeah, weather too, like, definitely can bring out certain kinds of insects at different seasons. Mosquitoes, you might want your mosquito spray.
Yep.
Those citronella candles can sometimes be annoying to
Have you
breathe,
ever-
but good.
Yeah. Have you ever used like those bracelets or like the?
Not for the insects.
I wonder if they actually work. I've never used one either.
That might be something to test out. We'll have to get
Yeah.
back to everybody on that, if those really work or not.
Yeah. We'll put you in the wristband and I'll take the
Yeah.
spray.
Yeah. There's been a couple times that we've camped, and I don't know if it's the heat or what, but those like bark beetles come out.
Oh my gosh.
And one time we were camping and they were so loud.
Yeah.
We were like, we have to move campsites.
I went hiking one time and I had never heard it before. And I was like, what in the world? And I thought maybe it was just a few trees.
Yeah.
It was the entire
Yes.
forest. And you're seeing like these little like carcasses left behind because they
Yeah.
like shed, right? That's what they're.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And you're right. It's relentless and it doesn't let up. And it's so loud and annoying. I'm like, I got to get out of
I
here.
know.
We hiked for maybe 20 minutes and I was like, I'm going back.
I know. I would be curious, like, if, any of you guys, our listeners, have other experiences with different types of insects or whether they encounter that we could learn about, because we're kind of just talking specific to Arizona, but
Yeah.
even when we went to Washington, like, the mosquitoes were pretty good there. Like, we didn't
Yeah.
have too many, but it was a little bit more, I don't know if I want to say like humid there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was different to encounter. So yeah.
Yeah, the humidity is crazy because we'd wake up in the morning and you're in that dense forest, so it's just everything gets damp.
Yeah.
So everything has like this thin layer of mist on it in the morning. And my Reese goes, oh, it rained last night. I'm like, no, that's not rain, buddy. But yeah, it was like, so we had to learn really quickly. I was like, don't leave anything out that you don't want to get wet
Yeah.
because anything left out always had that water on it in the
Right.
morning. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
really humid.
Yeah, growing up, I can remember a lot of our camping trips. It hailed, and so
gosh.
that was always like a fun memory. Even though, like, now that I think about it, being a mom with kids, I'm like, oh, great, it's hailing. The kids are gonna get restless. And but one time it hailed like so hard, we were just like, should we even be here? Like, this is pretty big size hails. I mean, they were like quarter size hail.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could hurt.
I know, but it's just crazy. I'm like, so definitely be under something when it's hailing.
Yeah.
Or you're going to come home with a lot of welts. Oh man.
gosh.
But yeah, check your forecast. Get an idea of what the weather's going to be like. I do carry an umbrella in our trailer too, just in case I have to go to another tent or trailer and be like, hey, want to play a game with me? And not get soaked.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah. Something we also have been doing is we have walkie-talkies. Just, they're fun.
They
okay.
are fun.
I mean, if you go camping, you don't have walkie-talkies, you need to get some and try it. But
We need to come up with like our own handles. Like, what's our
yes.
walkie-talkie name?
Yes. So growing up, my dad and my uncle, we had the CB radios or whatnot
Oh,
in our Suburbans, and we were Pink Panther and my uncle was Red Ryder, and we always fought over who got to talk through these things. We're like, Pink Panther coming to Red Ryder, come in. It was so fun when we were traveling, because then we like knew where everybody was, and we're like,
Yeah.
yes, our cousins are going to be here soon. And even on this last trip, we did the walkie-talkies,
Yeah.
and we were like, Reese, we're coming over. Okay, we're going to come get you. So
So fun.
it was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So we're so glad you guys joined us for our weather episode. we are going to be talking next about campgrounds and dispersed camping.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some pros and cons there. So join us at our next meeting. Don't forget to visit us at I'd rather be camping with a K.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, listen in.
And we'll see you whenever we see you.
This was your weather forecast for the day. Bye.
Bye.